All right, hi everyone. Welcome to Believe in Bills Friday edition. Adam and Sal with you as always, and a very special guest on the move from Canton, Ohio, Bills
Yeah,
Hall of Fame receiver Andre Reed. Andre, how are you, man? Good to see
I'm
you.
I'm good. How you guys doing? Sorry about all the confusion and commotion here. We're driving, and when you come to Canton, man, I'm all over the place. I'm like going in people's houses and saying hello, and we're doing some good things here in Canton now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
why
tell
don't you
us
tell us
about
what you're
that.
doing there? Tell us a little bit about it, Andre.
I'm here. I'm here as a part of a year-long, how long? A year or so long residency program where they invite a Hall of Famer here for about 3 or 4 days, and we go out in the community and we go out and introduce ourselves to different businesses and all that kind of stuff. Is just to get out there and be a part of what's going on here in Canton.
That's really cool. I mean, so with a gold jacket comes not only the recognition, but also
Yeah,
maybe a little responsibility to do
a
that, too.
lot. Exactly. And just seeing people, and we ate at a nice little restaurant last night, and just we talked to people sitting there, and we got a lot of questions and answers and all. It was very good. It's good for the soul. It's good for the hall. It's good for the player, for the Hall of Famer too.
I
All
got to
right.
tell you, one of my favorite times as a Bills writer was when I was finally able to stop writing about Andre Reed needs to go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Right? I called you probably 3 or 4 years
you
in a
did.
row
Yeah, you
asking
did.
about that. And same story, and
Same
finally it
story every
happened.
year. Yeah, I don't know whose story was best, yours or Vic Carucci's, right? Vic,
Yeah, yeah.
Vic was you know the guy on my behalf as far as presenting me to the hall back in 2000, what, 7, when I was eligible, 2007 or 5 or something like that. So yeah, it doesn't matter, guys. When you get here, it's not like you go in a different room. Like took you 10 years or took you 7 or 8 years. You got to go in that room. You got to put your bust in that room. But um, that doesn't happen. So it's what a feeling every year I come here. Not only to see the guys during enshrinement week, but to do things like this. You really feel a part of the community.
Yeah, that's terrific. Well deserved honor, obviously, as we've mentioned so many times, and
Um,
should have come sooner. But man, you are just a true Hall of Famer through and through. And by the way, you mentioned Vic. You may be
yeah,
interested to know, Andre, that I am helping to induct him into the
exactly.
Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame this coming Tuesday night.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Vic is definitely deserving. I think he has paid his dues, just like you guys have paid your dues there. Um, just a great part of the sports community there in Buffalo, and you guys made it a joy, not only to come to work every week, but now even doing what we're doing now. So kudos to you guys.
All right, really
Yeah, but it
appreciate
wasn't
you.
always a joy, was it?
Yeah,
It wasn't.
exactly.
Right?
We'll,
How many
Hey,
times did you and I get it out?
hey, you know what? That's just sports. You know that. Hey, Sal, that's sports. You know that.
That's right.
Everyone
It
doing
was
their
always
job.
joy.
I want to go down memory lane. Those locker rooms with you guys back in the day, Andre. You remember I was just
Oh,
breaking in back there. It's a lot different then, and it was a lot different then than it is now. That's for sure.
oh. We can't even talk. We can't even talk about some things, you guys. You know
No,
that.
I know, right? Right.
But what a time though. What a
Yeah.
time when it, it's like the pre to what's happening now without all the craziness going on. Um,
Yeah.
those locker room visits were something else.
Yeah.
We were
All right.
talking, I think last week, we were talking about, can you imagine you guys playing in back then if social media was around? Could you even imagine?
Yeah, I'd probably be talking to you guys with bars in front of me.
Exactly.
I mean,
Crazy.
hey guys, I'm being funny, but I might be being real too. I'm just saying. Uh, hey, you know how it was? It was nothing to get. It was nothing. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
taking a picture back then, you were just taking a picture. You weren't going nowhere.
Mhm. Yeah.
But it's a different time, and these players now they got to be a little more careful. They got to be a lot more careful about who they associate with, because they can be exposed at any time. So I'm sure they're aware of that. A lot of them.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, we're going to we know how closely you follow this current edition of the team. And Andre,
Yeah.
we're going to start by getting into that a little bit. I want to get a quick word in from the sponsor here first, and we're going to get right to it. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. Head to the website today to get into the action. Bet Online, The game starts here. All right, Andre, Bills Colts this Sunday in Indianapolis. Yeah. Interestingly, you were on the team the last time Buffalo won in Indy back in 1998.
Yeah, Doug Flutie, right? Doug Flutie, the quarter.
That was then. This is now.
This is now. You're right.
Keon Coleman ruled out for Sunday's game. How much of a factor do you consider that in this match?
Obviously, it's a factor. I mean, he's kind of like in the last 2-3 weeks, he's kind of found himself a little bit. I don't know if Amari's playing or not. Maybe you guys know a little more than me, but
No.
I think him coming to the team has changed the dynamic a little bit of people, defenses thinking differently. Keon got the last 3 games, has got a lot more targets, a lot more opportunities to make plays. It's unfortunate that he's not going to be playing this week. I actually just saw him last weekend in Buffalo at the TSE show, and I had no idea he had a hurt wrist, and it was going to keep him out the game on Sunday. But to me, this game, November is going to be a tough month for this team. They got, this is kind of like, I don't know if you call it a trap game, maybe a little bit. Going to Indy and winning, they got to go win this game to keep up with the, the teams in the AFC, with the Chiefs and all the other teams that are up there. They got to win this game just flat out, no matter who's playing. And then they have within the next month, they got the 49ers, they got the Lions, they got some tough games coming up. Chiefs, yeah. They got that's real tough games coming up. So they got to win these games they're supposed to and go from there.
Tell me about, you mentioned Cooper. Look, Coleman's a rookie. He's still trying to find his way, and he has done pretty well so far. But Cooper, I know you've followed his career much more. Yeah. He's been in the league for almost 10 years now. What do you like best about what Cooper brings to the Bills?
I think he just brings a sense of getting things done. It's like when James Lofton to a certain point came to us. Here's a guy that's already proven. Everybody knows his skill set and what he does, what he did in Cleveland, what he did with the Raiders. Wherever he was, he produced. I think he's just kind of trying to feel himself out with a new team and feel out what Josh is about and what the offense is about. But he brings that veteran leadership that we definitely need and in that locker room with all these young guys. So really glad that he's there, and hopefully he can play this week and he can be a big factor, with that push in November, December.
Yeah, with that wrist injury, Sean McDermott alluded to the fact, he hasn't practiced as much. So, you can understand the playbook from a studying standpoint, but to actually go out and execute it. As a veteran, he has experience doing that, but his adjustment to Buffalo has been slowed a little bit. Hopefully he can get up to speed and be impactful down the stretch. Andre, you said something that was interesting and something we've certainly talked about. I mean, I think in terms of this passing game, we've seen 2 different versions of it. The pre-Amari Cooper trade, and then after it, I mean, even just his presence on the field is from an X's and O's standpoint.
It's good, yes.
Right, now they can take the top off of defense when he's out there, and it opens things up for everyone else. From Shakir in the slot to, we saw what happened with Coleman's game, understanding he's not going to be in there this week, potentially for the tight ends as well. I mean, take me through the difference. It's not just about Amari Cooper. His presence makes everyone else around him better.
Everybody needs to be involved in this offense because I think Josh is spreading it around more this year than he has in the past 4 or 5 years. And he has to, because he doesn't have that guy like a Stefon Diggs. I mean, Shakir is excellent. He does some great things in there in the slot. He's a move the chain guy, but we got to get everybody involved, and I think that's what Joe Brady is trying to get. Not trying, but that's what Josh is doing.
I think we want to get back to Diggs in a second, but I wanted to ask you about Diggs' time here. Did you ever have a wrist injury when you played?
I did. You know what, Sal? I did one year. I broke a bone in my wrist, but I just put something on it. That's it.
Because I was
back then was different, bro. It was different back then.
I know. You're absolutely right. But I wanted to know, I mean, how hard is it to catch a ball from a guy like Jim Kelly or Josh Allen if you have a damaged wrist? It's got to be hard.
Yes, I broke the navicular bone. I don't know. I can't even spell that. I don't know where it is. And I ended up playing a little small bone in your wrist that has poor blood supply. And I just put like a little pad over it and I caught ball. I still caught balls.
Yeah, but you were a tough SOB though.
Well, I could have broke my whole wrist, to tell you the truth, but I was like, I can still play. I'm gonna play.
All right, so I wanted to ask you about the Stefon Diggs tenure here in Buffalo. 4 years, obviously, his numbers were incredible. The Bills had tremendous success, didn't win it all, but he really was an impactful player from a distance. As a guy who came in and broke a few of your season records, what did you think of his overall time in Buffalo?
I mean, if I had to grade it, it was probably a B plus. I mean, I think the last year or so is really, took away from his impact here in Buffalo as a player. I think he really gets a bad rap to a certain point. Guys have done crazier things and way crazier things and weird things and all that, but they produce on the field. T.O. got a bad rap, but when T.O. played, T.O. produced and T.O. did the job. I just think he got a bad rap, and I wish I would have had a chance actually to sit down and talk to him. I never got that chance when he was here. Briefly, I saw him on the field a couple times, and it was kind of brief during the game. But I would love to talk to him and talk to him about just whatever, came to mind. Somebody talked to me, guys. Back when I came as a rookie, it was Jerry Butler. It was Mitchell Brookins. It was, guys like that talked to me about, not only just playing the game, but how is your impact going to be every time you step on the field, and how are you going to be viewed by the fans? And maybe that's not important to a lot of guys, but that was important to me. And maybe it wasn't important to Stefon like it should have been, but obviously he produced. He was a great player. And again, I think he gets a little bit of a bad rap because of all the little off the field things and the way he acted and all that kind of stuff. But it would have been different if he didn't produce. Been way different. So
you
I got to give
said
him
that,
half.
though, but was some of that self-inflicted, though? I mean, you say he got a bad rap, but it feels like some of that might have been self-inflicted.
I think from outside looking in, probably some of it, and maybe it was due to other things that we don't know. Yeah. It's hard to understand a professional football player, a professional football athlete, let alone just a football player. There's different. Everything's crazy. You can't figure somebody out. And I think Stefon was one of those guys.
Okay. I mean, I suppose it begs the question, they made the decision to move on from him. Yeah. And it had a lot to do with what happened or what was going on off the field. Yeah. Right. I guess, you guys back in the day, those early 90s teams, it wasn't always hunky-dory behind the scenes.
Oh, no.
There were a lot of personalities and dynamic. I mean, can you make any comparison?
Yeah, that's a good question,
then
Adam.
And now, I mean, I know we don't know a lot of the specifics with Stefon Diggs, and I'm not asking you to get inside his head, but I mean, you guys were able to work through a lot and get to 4 straight Super Bowls, I guess is my point. It kind of makes you wonder.
It's such a thin line. It's not like a real thick line where you can say this and that. It's so thin. You guys know we just had a total different attitude, a total different team, a total different organization. The game is a lot different. It's changed in a lot of ways. Guys are really individualized more now than they ever been in the league. It's all about them to a certain point, the me kind of guy. We were like that too, but we were held accountable for how we acted off the field, how we acted on the field. We were held accountable for that because if you didn't act that right, we weren't going to get no wins, no matter how good we were. And we held each other accountable. And you guys have talked to Jim and Thurman and Bruce and Daryl and all these guys that not everything went right every time that we went on the field and in the locker room. But when it came time to get right, we got right.
Yeah. What do you think you could have done in today's game? The way it's officiated, the way receivers have a little bit more leeway. What do you think you could have done? I mean, you were a Hall of Famer. You already had a great career, but can you imagine playing today?
I could have done, man. Sal, I could have done anything I wanted
to. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, your numbers could have been unbelievable.
Would have been way better. I mean, they were good, but yeah. We play in a different game. We play in a different era. Everything's different. It definitely would have been different for me. if I would have played in this era. I mean, you can ask any receiver during the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, what their numbers would have been with today's rules and how they go about officiating and all that kind of thing. So, but it is what it is. I played in a great era of football. I'll never dispute that with anybody. I can go toe to toe with people on that one. The game was different. The players were different. And being here in Canton with a lot of those players, really makes me relive that and realize that I played in a great era.
Yeah, I mean the number of Hall of Famers on that roster, and arguably there could be more. And getting back to today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some of the comparisons or whatever. I want to talk a little bit about Josh Allen and how his game has evolved. Sal and I have talked about it. He's really limited the turnovers, which was the big thing. We haven't seen the statistical, the numbers are a little bit different, but it's a different offense that he's operating in. I think Sal and I agree this is probably the most refined version of Josh Allen
it is
that we've seen. How dangerous does he make them? And assuming they stay healthy and he stays healthy, how much of a contender do you consider?
Oh, dude, they're Josh Allen to me is the MVP of the league right now. Not only what he's doing, but how, and Joe Brady's like the MVP B right now, because I think he has really done a great job with Josh, not only for him limiting his, like you said, his turnovers, but to me, this year he has more options. And I think he opened up the playbook a little bit more for him. You don't see him running as much. To me, I don't know. Maybe you guys think he's running just as much as he has the past 4 years. He's not running as much. He's got a pretty good cast behind him. And these are guys that are just guys you don't even know who they are to a certain point. And I think this is his best year as a full, complete quarterback in my eyes.
I know Kelly's your guy. I'm not going to ask you to compare the two, but can you compare the two in any way?
You can't. Nah, I'm not going to even. I know where you're trying to go with that one, Sal. I'm not going to get you. Not going to get me. I'm not even going to compare because two different quarterbacks, two different eras. One thing that I think they have in common is they are tough as nails, both of them. And Jim Kelly, to me, was the toughest guy I've ever seen as far as a quarterback goes. I think Josh is the same way, has the same kind of qualities that Jim has. Strong arm, smart. His team relies on him for a lot of different things. Relies for leadership, for everything. If Josh Allen isn't there, where would the Bills be? If Jim wasn't there, I wouldn't say that because we had Frank Reich. But that was the beauty of that. So I think Joe Brady has done. People need to give him more credit. I think he's done a great job with this offense, and just as in plugging guys in left and right, has really opened up the book a little bit for Josh to be more, more active in the offense.
Now you got to remember. Now look, I mean, Allen's great. We're enjoying his career so much, but I grew up in the Kelly era. That's when I started in this business.
Yeah.
And people, I think today, Andre, they seem to overlook Kelly's greatness because of what Allen is doing today.
Exactly.
Right?
I see that too.
You can't overlook. People can't forget what Jim Kelly did, right?
Oh, I never will. I mean, I got this jacket on because of him. So I'll never forget. He got me here to Canton. I mean, obviously I did my work, but he gave me opportunity, and he gets kind of looked over too when they talk about Josh and him. Josh got to get to a Super Bowl first before we start even talking about comparison to me. As far as a player, maybe the fan thinks differently, but as a player, Josh got to get his team over that hump first.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. You know what? And I think we both agree with that, and that's where I was kind of going to go next as we wrap up this portion of the program. You look at the comparison, and people will debate it at quarterback. What you guys were able to do, understanding it was a different era, salary cap, all those things, 4 straight Super Bowls. Can you draw, or what comparisons do you draw to those early 90s teams that you were so much a part of, and to what they've built, what Sean McDermott has built in Buffalo around Josh Allen? and their status as contenders, albeit they haven't even reached one Super Bowl yet.
Yeah,
What other comparisons can you draw?
That's a hard one, Adam, to draw a comparison. I think the one thing is Sean, when he came here, he wanted to change the culture of the football team, of the city, if he could. Definitely the football team. He wanted to change that culture. And I remember sitting with him, me, Bruce, Daryl. He wanted a meeting with us. And we had a meeting downtown at one of the restaurants downtown. And this is when he just got hired. And he said, I need to talk to you guys about how did you guys do what you did with not only the personnel you had, but how did you mold everybody together to believe in what was going on? All the way from the front office, all the way down to the guy sweeping up at night. And that was there. He got a lot of excerpts from all of us. And one thing that really impressed me about Sean is he was writing stuff down. He just wasn't listening. He was writing it down because, believe me, the next day he was going to the team and he was saying all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's why, to me, he's one of the good coaches, the great coaches in the league. He don't get a good rap either. They don't put him up with Andy Reid's and all these different coaches. He's like on tier 2, and I believe he needs to be tier 1 of what he's done.
Okay.
All right. So as we wrap this up, excellent points, Andre. Again, Andre Reed, Hall of Famer, Bills Hall of Famer, joining us from Canton, Ohio, taking time out of his schedule to do this show and appear with us on Believe in Bills. I wanted to ask you, you're into the media business on a number of levels.
Yeah.
Now you are co-executive.
The guy who couldn't stand the media when he played, now he's one of us. All you guys are like that.
Sal, believe it or not, it's not that I couldn't stand it. I was fickle.
You and third close.
That might be a little bit of an that's an understatement.
I was good. I was all right. I mean, I was your typical guy in the locker room. Okay. But people never saw that side of me. So I'm glad you're saying that. Now they see that side of me.
Tell us about this project. You're the co-executive.
I'm very
Bills Mafia, right?
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I had two guys that have done projects in Hollywood and have done projects in different docuseries and different projects they have been on. Addison Henderson, who's from Buffalo, his partner Kevin Polloway is really involved in Buffalo things. They're Hollywood guys, and then Chad Michael Murray, who's everybody knows who Chad Michael Murray is, and a Buffalo guy, grew up here. Came to me and asked me about being an executive producer of this docuseries called Before I Die.
Yeah, just one before I die.
Just one before I die. Yeah, I was trying to say it too fast. Just one before I die. And they asked me if I'd come on as a executive producer of this docuseries they want to get out. I said, for sure. Why not? The fans, the Bills Mafia, the fans deserve this. They deserve their flowers. They deserve to be put up on a pedestal of what not only they mean to the city, but what they mean to the whole league. Everybody in the league knows who Bills Mafia is. Everybody in the United States knows who the Bills Mafia is. And they deserve, this kind of thing going on. And I'm glad to be a part of it. It's going to be good. We're actually been doing things I just was up in Buffalo last week doing some things with them. Thurman, Jim, Daryl, all these guys have been involved in it. Steve Tasker, Marv, they just did a little thing with Marv in Chicago. So they are very well, not only excited about it, they're informed about it. And to be a part of this is very special for me too.
Cool.
Excellent.
Very cool. Looking forward. When's it come out, Andre? When's it going to be finished?
It won't be finished probably till sometime next year. We just don't want to, put it out and there we go. We want to dot every I, cross every T, and all the things that they want to do with it. And actually, I think within a week or two, I'm going to be seeing Chad. So we're going to talk about things, and we're excited about it. I am. And, I'll get a couple of movie credits about it too. So
there you go.
Hey, listen,
exactly.
I know you remain very active with your foundation and charitable contributions. You're there donating your time as a Hall of Famer in Canton, being active in the community as well. So we commend you for all of that, Andre. And I got to tell you this, man. I thought you were great on The Golden Bachelor.
Man.
Well, the Golden Bachelorette, right? The Golden Bachelorette. I know kickball wasn't your thing, I know, but I mean, you did a great job on that. Was that fun?
It was fun because I really felt bad for those guys because, first of all, they thought we were going to play a flag football game. I was with Eric Dickerson, and I was like, these guys don't know we're not playing a flag football game. And I was like, wow, some of these guys, whoa. The kickball game was a treat to watch with just a kickball game. So flag football would have been out of the question. But yeah, that was a lot of fun to do. That was a lot of fun to do.
You're living life, man. Good for you.
Yep, we're good, man. We're all good. It's good to be on with you guys.
All right. Thank you for your time. We know you're busy. Really appreciate you coming on, Andre. And hey, look, maybe have you on again. This team is putting itself in a position where there could be plenty to talk about down the line here.
And believe me, I'll be the first one to talk.
Yeah, we love that. We know that. Love that about you, Andre. Thank you so much.
You got
Bills Hall of Famer Andre Reed with us here on Believe in Bills for Sal Mayorana. I'm Adam Beanie. Thanks so much for joining us.
You got it, bro.